What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Financial Coach Jess, and hopefully you are a bookkeeper or a financial coach, because in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 6 things that you must know about your ideal client. In this video right here, I give you tons and tons of free ways to get your first few paying clients and really get in front of your ideal client. But as you might already know, just getting in front of your ideal client is not enough. Without the right messaging, without really knowing your ideal client, just getting in front of them is not going to get you the results that you want. So let's dive into these 6 things today. Number 1, you need to know their top 3 pain points and the effects that those pain points have on their life. I have met a lot of bookkeepers and financial coaches that understand their ideal client and know their pain points, but they haven't quite connected the dots on how those pain points really affect every single area and seep into every single area of their life. Let's take my bookkeeping clients as an example. I primarily work with solopreneurs or relatively small teams of people. Practically, when they're reconciling the books and matching payments to deposits, they're not able to do actual money generating activities. This is the very mechanical and logistical side of things, but let's flip the coin and see what happens to them on an emotional level when their time is being taken up by reconciling their books. My business owners did not start their own business so that they could be entering transactions on the weekends and keeping up with the books through the week. This is not their strength. It drains them and makes them feel very burnt out when they spend their time doing something that they're not passionate about and they don't really enjoy. With their books being managed behind the scenes, my entrepreneurs can really show up for their clients and their customers with confidence because they're doing more of what they were made to do. Pain points are so much more than just the practical side of things. If you listen closely and ask the right questions, you can start to uncover the emotional toll that their pain points are creating within their life. Number 2 is that you need to know your ideal client's limiting beliefs. And I really love this one because this was actually a personal breakthrough that I had with my ideal client. You've probably already seen this since you're on my YouTube channel, but my ideal client for financial coaching is working with recent college grads who have their first big girl job, but there's no actual adulting going on behind the scenes. When I first started diving into this ideal client, I assumed that they didn't know how to do any of the things that I was teaching them in my program, 12 Weeks to Wealth. I assumed that they didn't know how to start a successful side hustle. I assumed they didn't know how to self-advocate or negotiate their credit card interest or their rent. I assumed they didn't know how to buy a house or invest or any of these things. And although I wasn't necessarily wrong, the issue wasn't that they didn't know how to do any of those things. The issue was actually happening way before that. The issue was that they didn't think that they could. And the how part of everything is meaningless until my ideal client believes that she can. This was a huge lesson for me. Just a couple small tweaks to my masterclass to add in this overtone and this understanding really connected me to my ideal clients, and my masterclass started converting way better than it was before. When you successfully identify the limiting beliefs of your ideal client, you can start speaking truth to them and addressing those early on. Number 3 is that you need to identify what has already not worked for your ideal client and why. As we get to know our ideal client here, a really important piece is that we understand what they have already tried and why it didn't work. Here's the difference compared to what is out there normally and how this will assist you when trying to stand out as a financial coach. So for an example, let's just stick with the college grad. Here's some sample copywriting. Hey college grad, you know deep down that you should be investing for retirement and that you're losing out on precious time. In my program, I teach you XYZ so that you can this and this. This is what most do. We've identified pretty poorly point A and point B, where they are at and where they want to be. But here's the problem. anyone knows this. Anyone can see point A and point B. If you're a good communicator, you can communicate this to your ideal client, but they're still going to be very skeptical because you haven't really related to them and connected with them on a deeper level. But if you add in, hey, college grad, you know deep down that you should be investing for retirement and that you are losing out on precious time, but it's overwhelming, right? You've tried Googling this stuff on your own, but this is so time consuming and you still don't know if it's correct. You tried talking to your friends or coworkers, but they are just as lost as you. You tried talking with a professional, but you felt stupid and didn't know the language enough to ask questions. Quite honestly, it's scary to think that you could get blindly steered down the wrong path. In my program, I teach you X, Y, and Z so that you can this and this. This is such a stronger connection. You're really putting yourselves in their shoes, and that comes across in a very genuine way because you've been listening, you've been asking the right questions, and you've been doing really valuable market research. Number 4 is their top 3 desires and the effects of those desires. Just like number 1 with the pain points, we want to know what the desires are, but then also what effects those are going to have on the rest of their life on a practical and logistical level, of course, but then also on an emotional level too. This is not something that you're going to be able to observe or conjure up on your own. You've got to be in clear communication with your ideal client. You have to be in their world, sitting down with them and doing the market research and the legwork ahead of time that's going to tell you all of these things. We have got to be able to identify these, be able to communicate that back to them so that connection between the two of you is there. Number 5 is what happens if your ideal client doesn't take action. This is, of course, another really important piece of your messaging and something that you're going to be communicating regularly to your ideal client. And another way of looking at this one is, can you identify and can you really pinpoint and communicate where your ideal client is currently headed? Not in a threatening way or a doomsday kind of way, but just matter of fact. How long can they do this alone? How long can they continue doing this and striving without getting the results that they really want? Here's a graph that I recently saw on Instagram when I was putting this together, and it just communicated this concept so well. Planting this seed in the mind of your ideal client and allowing them the space that they need to really think about this and process it through on their own is a great way of coaching them through this and helping them see and come to terms with the direction that they are headed and if they're content with the trajectory that they're currently on. Number 6 is identifying their top 3 objections. And this one is freaking juicy. If you want to freak out your ideal client in the best way possible, of course, when you are talking to them, when you are communicating with them, you know that they're a good fit for your program. Gently come alongside their objections before they even voice them. We want to get your client to a place where your program is just an absolute no-brainer yes, and this is actually one of the best ways that I know how to get them there. When you are able to correctly identify those objections and really in a nuanced way come alongside and voice that, I've had coaches and mentors do this to me as the client, and I can't tell you how validated and seen and heard I have felt in these situations. The goal here at this point is that we want them to feel free to voice anything to you. We want 100% transparency and honesty within your relationship with your client. And there's just something special about hearing someone voice objections that you were too afraid to speak up about that just really makes you say, yeah, I need more of this in my life. I absolutely love that moment where a client actively steps out in faith and decides for themselves that they're not going to be a victim, but they're going to be proactive and really take control of their future. If you want even more instruction today, I've got a link below that will take you to my free 60-minute pricing workshop for financial coaches. And within that pricing workshop, I give you my entire formula for coming up with your full price and how to work up to that full price within your coaching business. I want you to be able to price your services so that you can invite other people to work with you in confidence. If you got value out of this video here today, don't forget to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to my channel for future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.